Is it time for another episode about the Euros? It's time because next week it is starting again. Oh my days, I cannot wait. Oh, Friday, the 14th of June comes soon.
Yeah,
Germany versus Scotland, opening game. Oh my days, it is upon us. The Euros 2024.
yep. Especially considering you have a host country as your country, that's actually hard.
Oh man, I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I am telling you, I cannot wait. Ah, this is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. Um, but yeah, to get this podcast kick-started, we're gonna go into our predictions for the group stages of the Euros.
Yeah,
And eventually we've decided for this episode to strictly stick to the group stages.
yeah,
And eventually, once the group stages have been played and the knockout stages are set, we will do another episode focusing on the knockout stages.
yeah. And we'll also see how wrong we were initially. So that will help.
Yeah, that probably will play into account. but today we've decided to talk a bit about the group stage, see what teams we think are going to top each one,
Yeah,
and eventually we'll predict each our winner. We don't know what our answers are yet, as
no.
usual. So again, this might be another Chouameni situation. Um, but we're looking forward to letting each other know what we think about what's going to happen at this tournament,
Yeah,
and we're also going to discuss a bit about specific players
yeah,
and specific teams. You know, for example, who we think is going to be a star performer, or who we think is going to flop,
yeah,
or who we think is going to be a surprise in this tournament,
for sure.
because at the Euros, anything can happen. And as we've seen in many previous tournaments, there is basically a month's worth of football every day and surprises every day and potential shocks as well.
Definitely, 100%. And hopefully not to any of our countries.
Yes.
So,
I hope not. I hope not. But again, we will see. Now, I say we get right into it, Gabe, and you can lead us into this one because this is Group A.
yep, Group A, which has Germany, Scotland, Hungary, and Switzerland. So both of our countries involved in this group. Niklas is Germany, my Switzerland. So
Yes.
I look, very tricky group, I think, after the first place. My prediction, though, is going to be Germany first, Hungary,
Oh, thank you. Thank you
Hungary
very much.
second, Switzerland third, Scotland fourth. And
You're not going Switzerland second, really?
I'm not the most, look, I think,
Really? Especially after beating Estonia 4-0.
oh yes, the mighty Estonia.
Well, hey. They're in the photo album, you know, the sticker album. So they went far enough to be in that.
Ridiculous. Look, I will say that Estonia game was probably the best performance I've seen from us over a year, but that also shows how problematic.
I have to say, it was one of your better, well, why am I saying your? I'm also supporting Switzerland. Um, it was one of the better Swiss performances in recent times.
Definitely. I think
Definitely.
it was the one time also the coach I thought had good tactics. I see
Yeah.
the possibility of a 3-4-3, I could, or 3-4-2-1, we could say. I saw it working how it
Mhm.
could. I think also that left side combination of Ndoye, Vargas, and Amdouni can work really well. I think it actually worked really well. So I was impressed. But yeah, reason for my pick. So Germany, I think first is just because they have all the talent. I know there was concerns about it, you know, back in 2023, given the form, but I think now the German team has been very focused. I was even impressed with your game against Ukraine, even though it ended up 0-0, because I looked at that and I saw
Yeah,
a lot of chance creation. I loved also Max Bayer, by the way. He's another person I think needs to get a
I have
shout.
to say, yeah, I can't lie. I did not watch the game. I was busy that evening,
Yeah,
but I did watch extended highlights, 20 minutes worth of it, and I was impressed with Max Bayer quite a bit because he got himself into a lot of positions and into a lot of chances,
definitely.
and seemed quite lively. So I know in our episode about Germany, I was a bit skeptical about his choice
Mm,
because I felt that it was a bit of a, one player too much.
for sure.
Not because he's not a good player or
Right,
because I
right.
think he didn't deserve the call up, but I just think there could have been other mentions such as Adeyemi or Brandt included instead of him. But after the watching the highlights, I have to say he does bring quite a lot to this team, which particularly when I'm thinking of what I'm about to say, thinking of players like Fulkrug and Havertz,
For sure.
like I've said in our last episode, who are slightly less mobile and slightly less energetic in the way they play.
Yeah,
So I think Bayer brings quite a bit, which is good.
for sure.
So not to go too much in depth about Germany, because it is my team. I can go on for days about it.
Right.
I do think that they will easily top this group.
Yes.
Maybe
I think
I'm
7 points. I think 7 points. I think you guys tie with Hungary. That's
yeah
my one
yeah
bold shot.
maybe easily is an overstatement.
Well, I think
Um,
easily in terms of like if there's no doubt whether you come first, but I think not 9 points. That's just my view. I think you
no, I
tie.
agree. I agree that it's not going to be. I think I would be very surprised if we get anything less than a win against Scotland.
No, yeah, that one will be.
Um,
I think you beat
at
Scotland. I
least
think
that.
Hungary, as we've seen over the years, are very competitive against you guys in particular.
Yes.
They very much step
Yes.
up to the play when it's the bigger teams. I think actually Hungary's best performance game wise of this group will be when they play against Germany. Not their best result, but their best
Yeah.
performance will be against Germany. So
And they have a very solid midfield. Soboslai is running the show there, which
yeah,
he's done with Liverpool all season. And so I think that midfield strength of theirs will overcome our midfield weakness slightly. Because I do feel that Germany's weakness is mostly a bit of the midfield balance, not so much the
yeah,
midfield players, but the midfield balance and a bit more the transitions on the wings, especially going from offense to defense,
that's
might
good.
be a bit of a tough one for Germany. So I think that Hungary's strong points will play into account when they play Germany. So that's why I am also actually going to go Hungary as second,
Oh, nice.
Switzerland third, and Scotland last. Because despite the Swiss having a good game against Estonia, I was just trying to pull your leg by saying that you're not putting it second. I do think they have slightly decreased their level since the
Yeah,
last World Cup and the last Euros.
definitely. There's been just like a lack of clarity and identity. Also, like the reason I actually
Mm-hmm.
was pleasantly surprised with the Estonian performance is because finally I saw some clear offensive identity. That's what's been lacking. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, the reason
Yeah.
I back us to get third, I know some people say even fourth because our four. And the reason I back us for third is I think we just have too much player quality against Scotland. I think
No, no,
Scotland,
I don't think Scotland has anywhere near the player quality that Switzerland has.
right?
At
So
least at least in this tournament and the squad that I've seen that they're bringing, definitely player to player, Switzerland has an advantage.
definitely, I think especially like I think Scotland's weakest point is their offense or their you choose the offense or defense. It's one of those two, and I think that's just what holds them back.
Mm-hmm.
I think again, and as a final point, I think so for us, I think we will tie with Hungary because I think that's gonna be a very competitive game. And I think we'll beat Scotland and then we'll lose to Germany by like 2 or 3-0. That's my view. So I
Mm-hmm.
think 4 points should normally take Switzerland through. So I do back them to go through as one of the best third place teams.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, I expect Switzerland to be one of the top three third place teams to go through for sure. Yeah, I think that sums up what we wanted to say about Group A, doesn't
yeah,
it?
definitely.
Quite happy with that. That
That
was
was
that
good.
was that was pretty agreeable so far there.
We'll
That
see.
was pretty agreeable.
I think it's gonna go down the drain starting the next group, but we could be wrong. We're gonna find out.
Yeah, the next group is a tough one. I mean, I remember seeing today the Jamie Carragher prediction that he did.
Oh yeah.
And I have to say, I didn't particularly agree with it.
So
Um,
those are my
but
teams are Spain, Croatia, Italy, Albania.
yes,
Niklas, you should go first. What is your prediction?
this is Group B now. Spain, Croatia, Italy, Albania. I think Spain will top this group.
Okay.
Firstly, because they have the strongest set of players by quite a shot. Even though Croatia has a good rejuvenated team, and they
Right.
still have that good balance of the experience and the youth, which they've always had.
Right.
It's not as strong as it used to be, and Italy is, for me, they're pulling in a lot of players that have stepped on the scene this season,
Yeah.
which is interesting from them. They're and but they have had a few injuries, last minute injuries. The Atalanta player, uh, Scaldini, I think it
Yeah.
is.
Scalvini. Yeah. Scalvini. Yeah.
Yeah, Scalvini. I think he ruptured his ACL 2 3 days ago in training camp, so he's sadly not coming. So I think there's a few question marks with this team about how it's going to set up.
Yeah,
You know.
and as an Italian myself, I want Italy to succeed. I think it's.
Mm-hmm.
I will probably say, and I think many people could agree with this. Italy's probably the biggest, like, wild card in this entire tournament because you don't know what kind of Italy's going to show up.
Yeah.
Because we literally had the back-to-back of winning Euros, followed by not qualifying for World Cup, followed by change in management, change in personnel. It's very difficult to predict this Italian team. I think the weakest point of this Italian team, from what I've seen structurally, they could do better finishing wise. I think a lot of that is probably because of Retegui.
Yes.
I love Retegui, but again, he's still very young. Scamacca is very hit or
Mm-hmm.
miss in my opinion. He's in great form, but again, hit or miss.
Yeah.
And defensively, also, I love the individual defenders, but Spalletti's system doesn't have them the most defensively certain.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
So it's difficult
But
to. Um,
for me,
yeah.
despite everything I've said, I'm actually going to go Italy second,
Mhm.
believe it or not,
Okay.
because I see easily Croatia and Italy finishing on the same points tally. The reason being is I see them both losing to Spain.
Mhm.
I see them drawing against each other, and I see them both beating Albania. And this will depend on the goal scoring. And I do think that if Scamacca hits form, and there is some sort of providing to him from the midfield, and it's a pretty strong midfield with Italy.
Definitely.
There is a possibility for them to surprisingly have a pretty decent group stage for me. So I think personally they might go through simply because they have scored, or have a better goal scoring ratio.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Than Croatia does. Because I do think Croatia's front line has weakened just a tiny bit since the last couple of tournaments.
And so they're assuming you're saying Croatia third, Albania fourth?
Yeah, Croatia. So the way I would see it is Spain. I think Spain pretty strongly has a big advantage in each game going into this group, especially through midfield. Rodri is running the show, and they have a pretty strong defense. Unai Simon has started to impress me a bit more this season. I've talked a lot of smack about this guy for many years.
Yes, understandable.
I particularly understood why he started for Spain, because he seemed very uncomfortable, especially with his feet, which is not exactly fitting to the Spanish style. So I do have to say this season he's impressed me a little more. He's looked a bit more serene in the goal. And so, I mean, if he's starting, which I expect he will be starting, I think they have a pretty solid team that is well balanced. I do worry about their offensive ability because their strikers are not so fluid.
No.
Still, they haven't been for many years.
Right.
But I still think Dani Olmo is a big threat and can provide with a lot of goals or assists.
Right.
And the midfield is strong, the defense is strong. So I don't see them struggling very much in this tournament.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And so yeah, I think that's completely valid for Spain to come first. In terms of my predictions, I actually have Albania coming first. No, I'm kidding.
Okay. Listen. I knew you said you had surprises, but you have to hide them a little better if they're a lie.
Right. No. So I have my actual order is the exact same. I have Spain, Italy, Croatia, Albania. I think it's very, very tight. I've been wrapping my brain around the top three. I do want to give a quick shout out to Albania because they've actually had a fantastic qualification campaign.
Yes,
They really
yes.
like have one set up. They've just been screwed because they haven't put in this group. I actually think,
Yes.
apart from the Spain game, they're going to be very competitive in both the Italy and Croatia game. I think they're going to be very competitive. I actually think Italy will win that one 2-0 with a late goal to secure it. And I think Croatia Albania is actually going to be 2-1 for Croatia. I don't think it's going to be a. I think Albania are going to have their heads up, hold their heads up high by the end of this group stage. I think they'll get smashed by Spain like 4-1 or something like that. But I think they'll do well. Silvino's got them playing good football. And as for Croatia, I really want to shout out to Croatia because I think many people underestimate them, saying, "Oh, this is an aging squad."
I agree.
When Lovro Mayer and Baturina are some really impressive, like young midfielders, I am really excited to see. So, in the end, I think it's a bit overdone, this thing. But the reason I'm going with this order is I think Spain will end up in the end with 7 points. I think they'll beat Croatia narrowly, and I think it's actually going to be a tie with Italy. The only reason why I'm going that is because Italy, I've noticed the trend that Italy, when I've seen them against the big teams recently, unless it's England, where England really put the nail to the sword with them, I don't think Spain puts them away as confidently because I don't think Spain is as clinical as England. I think Italy will afford a lot of chances in. So I'm going to go for a tie in that game. I think Italy will tie with Croatia. But again, I think the difference is I think Italy ends up on 5 points, therefore, and Croatia ends up on 4 because they lose to Spain. So that's my view. I think it's very narrow margins. Either way, I have Croatia going through third as one of the best third-place teams. I was contemplating for a long time, though. Also, Croatia, though, getting a tie with Spain, it's very, very tough. But I'm just edging Italy second. But I think Croatia are going to show they mean business. And so in the end, we end up with the same order. Similar agreement once again. But
yet again, I told you, so far it's very pacifist.
But now on to Group C, of course, and Group C.
Oh my! This is where it gets interesting because I find this group extremely weak. If I'm being honest,
I think this is the weakest apart from Group E, I would say. But in some ways, also. But in some ways,
Group E or Group D, you were saying.
I was saying I think Group C is like the second weakest after Group E.
Yeah. Okay. No, I actually think Group F is extremely weak as well, if I'm being honest.
Ooh, we're gonna touch on that later.
But yeah.
But in terms of this Group C, I call this the battle between everyone else except for England. That's
it doesn't get truer than that.
Right. I think so, again, it's like we'll touch on these teams more specifically after I give my prediction. But my prediction is I have England in first. On 9 points, it's a bit unique for England because they actually tend to always get one tie, but I actually think they're going to win all their games here.
Yeah, I see them winning all their games as well.
Yeah. I'm going to go second. Again, it's very difficult, but I'm actually going to go second Serbia. And I'm going to go third Denmark and fourth Slovenia. Now, it's very difficult, this group, as I said. It's the battle between everyone else except for England. England, we don't have to touch on too much because they're the favorites. They're going to be fantastic to watch. I'm excited to see a lot of their players. But let's go on the other teams. So, if I go with Serbia, the reason I'm going for them second, if I'm just going game by game, I think they're going to get thrashed by England. I really do. They're defensively so susceptible. But I think they're going to eke out a win against Slovenia in a very back-and-forth game with no regards for defense on either team, genuinely. And I then think in the Denmark game, it's going to actually be a tie. But I think Serbia will get second on 4 points because I actually think Denmark will not get a win in this group. I think Denmark will tie with both Serbia and Slovenia. Denmark played Slovenia in qualifying both times. They've struggled both times. They won one time, but they struggled both times. This is a Danish team where, similar to Switzerland, have a coach that now is very unlikable. It's very unlikable, Coach Hjulmand now. He's not being liked a lot by the Danish fans. I think it's the Danish team also similar to Switzerland have lost their identity. I think Denmark even more so than Switzerland, I would argue, potentially. Because I think Denmark have also had a past World Cup which was disastrous. And I just think this Denmark team are going to get 2 ties against Serbia and Slovenia and end up on third and 2 points, which won't be enough to even take them through as one of the better third-place teams. And as for Slovenia, I think they're going to have a very good. It's going to be one of those games, I think, against Serbia where they actually play well, but they still lose because I think it's just their quality thing. I think it's Denmark to actually play very well, but they're going to tie. I think this is a very interesting Slovenian team. I'm excited to see them. I think they punch above their weights, but I also saw their qualifying campaign, and I think what best summarizes them is they do very well against the teams that are the toughest teams, but they don't do as well against the teams that are more in their wheelhouse. And so in the
Yeah,
end,
I see what you mean.
1 point. So, but that's my
Okay.
view. I'm curious to hear about your prediction. It's very difficult.
So this is very, again, this is going to be very similar to you because obviously for me, England is a different class compared to the other three teams in this group.
Yes.
It always seems like England gets a pretty favorable group. I wonder, huh? But they have by far the best team player quality wise. It's not even close in this group.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
No, not even close.
Serbia individually has a lot of good players. You know, they have Vlahovic, they have Mitrovic, they have Milinkovic Savic, they have Milinkovic, you name it.
Yeah.
They have numerous players who on their day can be very threatening to other teams.
Yes.
But I'm gonna say Serbia second, but I'm gonna reluctantly say it because I do think that they're not as good as a collective as many other teams who are coming second are.
I completely agree. I'm not hyping up the Serbian team. I think just in terms of it, just because of their opponents, I'm putting them second. That's literally why I'm putting them second.
Yeah. So what I'm gonna say here is, if there was a team in this group, say of the quality of Croatia or Italy, for example,
Yeah.
of the last group, I think Serbia would struggle to come second.
Definitely.
You know,
I agree.
against those teams because I just think they don't have that squad cohesion that a team with their quality of players should have.
Completely agree.
You know, so I'm a bit underwhelmed by the fact of putting them second, and I'm even more underwhelmed by putting Denmark in third because I cannot.
We do the same.
I cannot agree with you more about what you said about Denmark. I'm looking literally at one of their most recent starting 11s. I recognize every single name on this list. You know, These are known players. But the worst part is the majority of them are 34 and above.
Yeah, they don't really have much youth apart from Portland, you'd have to say.
They have hardly any youth. And the players, since the last tournament, that have come into the starting 11 are old as well. Vestergaard being one of them.
Good point.
You know, Vestergaard being one of them. Højlund is the only one who's come in and is under 25. You know? So for me, I think this team, and then again, like you said, I think because they've lost themselves in this starting 11 that has done the job for them for many years, they've kind of lost their ability to play the way they used to.
Yeah.
You know? And so I think having, for example, Paulsen as still your focal nine, despite the fact that he hardly plays for Leipzig.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, not hardly, but you know, now that Sesko's come in,
right,
it's tough for him at Leipzig. And so I think that a lot of these players are in the twilight of their career and they're not particularly playing very much. Højbjerg hardly plays at Tottenham.
Right.
You know, Vestergaard, like as much as Leicester had a great season, they're in second division. Simon Kjær comes in ever so often for AC Milan. Kasper Schmeichel, don't even get me going about this dude since he left Leicester. God, his career's gone step down to step down to step down.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's really a team.
And it's because of the age. It's because of the age. Fair enough. I'm not saying they're old, so they're bad. That's not what I'm saying. It's just like they seem to have kind of lost themselves in that identity and not tried to find something new.
Exactly. I think that's something. And like, And look, I compared to Switzerland because I think both those teams have lost their identity over the past year. But I think Denmark's is even
Mhm.
more pressing because Switzerland, to be fair, I've actually seen glimpses. And to be fair to the coach Yakin, even though I don't rate him the most, he's at least integrated a lot of youth. I'm not really seeing that with
Yes,
Denmark. I'm
I
really
haven't
not.
seen that at all with Denmark. I haven't seen it at all.
So it's
And so I'm very disappointed with that because they are on their day, they are easily one of the top teams.
yeah, definitely.
I'm
But
not I'm not saying they won't pull up a performance. That's why I'm underwhelmed to be putting Serbia in second
I know,
because I do think Denmark could still pull off a hell of a result against them and against
yeah,
Slovenia. But I just don't believe in them enough,
yeah, I agree.
you know?
So,
And so then that leaves Slovenia being last, which I'm a bit sad because I find them a talented squad, you know?
they definitely have a lot
But
of promise. I think it's too soon. It's a little bit too inexperienced.
yeah, it's too soon. And like you said, they're very reluctant on focusing on their defensive abilities.
Mm,
And so that for me in a group stage when you have teams like England, Denmark, Serbia, it's not perfect for them
I agree.
to have that weakness, you know?
And I completely agree. So again, another agreement on our groups, but now
Yeah.
we move to Group D, which many people, including myself, actually will call kind of a group of death in some ways, because we have a very
Really? I don't agree with that at
well,
all.
apart from fourth place, which I think we know who we're going to agree on for fourth. I think the other three teams are
Yeah.
extremely
Okay, let's start with there because for me, Poland is they're lucky to be at the Euros. Okay,
they're awful to look at. They do have, of course, some bright starlets and players, but they're just awful to look at.
of course, they still have many bright players, but I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to say they're bottom last with 0 points.
Yes, I agree. I think they're gonna last with 0 because
Because
I think they're absolutely atrocious to look at tactically. Also, I remember the World Cup, and I know they have different coaching, but I still remember in the World Cup, even when I only predicted them second in their group, and they did it because of Mexico being even worse, and that showed how poor Poland was. I remember Poland especially being atrocious against Argentina,
they were
underwhelming
awful against Argentina,
poor against Mexico. So in the end, we both have them fourth. There's not much else to talk about Poland. And at least for Polish fans, they know that they don't have many high expectations in this group, especially. So
no, maybe it's a good thing for all we know.
Sure.
But I really don't see them doing any damage anywhere against the three other teams in the group. And
but I'm curious to know. Let's go to the positives, though. What is
let's go to the positives. We're done with Poland. I can go on all day about how I dislike this current team.
Yeah.
But we'll go from bottom up. For me, I actually think Netherlands is coming third.
Okay.
Which is very unlike what many people say. Because the reason being is I believe in the quality of Austria under Ralf Rangnick. So, I think that the main issue with the Netherlands is the offense.
Yes.
They can't score goals very easily.
That's because of a common setup also, which is my issue with the Netherlands.
Yeah, I mean, we have discussed this before, but we both believe Koeman is not the man to be leading this Netherlands squad. No. And the setup of the 3-4-3 is one of my least favorite formations in modern football because I just see it as too central and not enough on the wings.
Yeah.
That's right. And having three offensive players in the top there, like a triangle, you'd think would be good for creating like inner passes and triangles up there.
Right.
But the fact is that Netherlands doesn't have the players up there to be playing that way.
Completely agree. They really do not. They really do not.
Who's their starting striker? Cody Gakpo or Weghorst?
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
For me, it's not enough, and I think they'll be surprised by Austria's ability.
I agree,
especially Patrick Wimmer.
I agree. Oh, definitely. Patrick Wimmer also, he's very exciting. I mean,
Patrick Wimmer's been on fire in the qualifications and the lead up to this tournament and for Wolfsburg this season.
yeah.
So, um, not much more to say. I think Zabitzer and Leimer together in that midfield as well kind of runs the show on whoever is in that midfield of the Netherlands.
No, I
You
completely. I
know?
think I love Ragnick's play style, and so I'll go ahead into my predictions because once again, it's actually the same. I'm going for Austria second,
Okay.
Netherlands
I
third.
gotta say, I'm surprised. I thought you would go Netherlands for this one.
No, I've been very impressed with Austria. I think Ragnick has them really set up well tactically as a collective.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think this is an extremely impressive Austrian side. I think what I'm most impressed by from them, like of course the Gegen pressing and the pressing style is fantastic. I think I'm most impressed by just also his integration of a lot of young players. So it's a nice like balance of it, especially.
Yeah.
And also one thing is also, I think it was 8 out of their starting 11 recently, all in the Bundesliga. So they're all in the very same level of being like easy to deal with this system. They know how to deal with this playstyle system. So
Yeah.
no, I really back Austria, and I'm even going to do a slight shock. They're going to come second. I'm not saying them first, but I actually
Okay,
think they're gonna
because that
tie.
would be really shocking.
No. But I actually think they're going to tie on the opening day to France. I actually think
Oh,
that they're
that
going
is
to tie.
interesting.
I generally do. I'm very impressed by this Austrian side. I think, especially because it'll be the first game, I think France will be a little bit. What's the word I want to use? They're just like starting the tournament vibes, and I think actually it's Austria
Yeah.
going to be very competitive, and they'll eke out a tie. I still think France will come first. I think France will get 7 points because I think they'll tie with Austria, beat Netherlands, beat Poland. I think Austria will end up with 5 points. I generally think Austria will tie with France. I think they'll tie with Netherlands. I think that'll be a very back and forth game.
Yeah.
I could see Austria winning, but I'm going to go with a tie just because I think there's more player quality in Netherlands. But either way, Austria's second with 5 points, Netherlands third with 4 points, going through some of the best third place teams. So I agree with you ultimately.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. And then obviously France is a no-brainer to top this group. Even though, as we talked about in our episode, I am slightly questioning their defense and the cohesion there because it's kind of mix and match at this point with them.
Sure.
You're not exactly sure who's going to start, at the back, at least. Yeah. Except for Magnon, you're not sure who's going to start at the back. Probably Saliba, even though I'm still questioning whether he should be starting.
Right.
But looking at the defenders, he's the only one who is a surefire based off of form.
For sure.
So,
I completely agree.
And Theo Hernandez, obviously, as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, never mind. Only 2 players are not sure, but that's still half the defense.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Yeah. So, but either way, France will be enjoying this group, I think, either way. I think it'll be very competitive against Austria. So, we'll see. We'll revisit this. Watch France.
Yeah, we'll revisit this. We'll revisit this. But yeah, we both so we agree again. Got it. I love how we've been hyping that we don't agree with each other based off of one disagreement about Tchouaméni.
What? I mean, well, now we're gonna find out Group E. Would you like to
here we go. This is a very weak group, if I'm being honest.
I agree.
Well, Belgium, Slovakia, Romania, and Ukraine.
Would you like to kick us off?
Can I kick it off? I think Ukraine is going to top the group.
So we will have a disagreement. We'll let it go. But we finally have a disagreement.
I think what I've seen of Ukraine in recent months, what I've seen of Belgium in recent months, I have to say I haven't seen much of Slovakia. So maybe I might be underestimating what Slovakia can do. But what I've seen of Romania specifically as well, I think I'm going to sound... people are going to roast me for this. But I'm going to say Ukraine tops the group with 5 points.
Oh, I see what you're... Okay. Go, continue.
Romania, 5 points.
And Belgium.
You
And
see where I'm
Belgium,
going? You see where I'm going here?
yeah, and Belgium with 5.
Belgium. Sorry,
And
what?
Belgium with 5 points. Is that my assumption? Or?
Belgium 5 points. And Slovakia with 0 points.
So you think Belgium come third because of goals scored?
Because of goal difference, yes.
So that means you think Belgium is. You think Belgium is? Do you mean in the sense of like they're gonna not score that much against Slovakia? You think it's gonna be like a minimal win? Is that what you're? Is that
I think they actually might struggle against Slovakia. Yes. I do
interesting?
believe so. I do believe so. Um, because the reason being that I believe that they will struggle against Slovakia is mainly because of Slovakia's midfield.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's why, which is for me much stronger apart from Kevin De Bruyne, much stronger from Belgium's midfield in cohesion terms.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think Lobotka also is better complementing with other
And
players.
Lobotka, for me, is one of the most underrated midfielders in
I agree.
Europe right now.
I agree.
The dude runs the show at Napoli. He has single-handedly kept Napoli in somewhat of a position for Europe, I find, this season. Kvaratskhelia has had a few sparkles this season,
Right.
but for me, Lobotka, this dude runs the show at Napoli, and if Napoli are smart, they will keep him there for the foreseeable future.
That's a good point.
So yeah, that's. I know this is very, very, very strange for me, but
Right.
I'm going for this because of how little I expect Belgium to perform at this Euros.
So I mean, I guess we'll get into this later because it seems like you're gonna be proposing Belgium as like the flop of the tournament potentially. At this.
The thing is, I can't say flop because I don't expect them to do that well.
No, and I don't think anyone does. Right? No one has.
And I don't think anybody really does.
Well,
you know.
Look, I'll give my view about Belgium. Right? So my view about them is their defense is horrible. I think their defenders are just
yes. That's one place to start.
Their defenders are poor. It's poor. I actually really like the attack though. I really like the attack. I think it's a really
the attack is their only okay point.
No, I think their midfield's okay. It's not horrible, their midfield.
No, I don't think so. I really don't think.
De Bruyne, Onana, maybe you can do like Tielemans might be.
Okay, here we go. Here's another thing I'm gonna say. I think, trust me, I know Onana very well. He played at Hamburg. Okay, I watched him while we struggled to get promoted again for 2 seasons. The dude is. I don't think he's all that. I really don't.
I think he's overrated, but I don't think he's tragic. Okay, but anyway.
No, I don't think he's tragic. I would never say a footballer is tragic. But I don't think he's all that. You know.
So, on your predictions, though, I love how you mentioned Ukraine because I really love this Ukrainian team. I think they're going to.
They are such a great team.
I love them. I want to highlight especially them defensively because Zabarny, as a Bournemouth fan, is fantastic. And I think more so, of course, than you just look at the other kind of players here. And I'm sorry, but their forward line, Dovbyk, who's been one of the most on fire strikers this year. It's an incredible striker to have. And then you also have Sigankov. It's a really impressive Ukrainian team. So I really like this Ukrainian team. And look at their goalkeepers in Lunin, or if it's not Lunin, then it would be Trubin. So I love the Ukraine team. I'm gonna go Belgium first on 7 points and Ukraine second on 7 points. I think they're gonna fight each other. The only reason I'm edging Belgium first is just because I think Belgium are gonna stat pat against Slovakia. I generally think that's the only reason why. Because Ukraine, very impressive, but they don't get massive wins. So so I think go Belgium first on 7, Ukraine second on 7. I'm going third, Romania on 3 points with Osaka and Slovakia, and finally bottom of Slovakia on 0. I think Slovakia, and I'm going to actually openly say it, I really don't think Slovakia is anything interesting. I'm being candid. I think their midfield is interesting, but I think otherwise, I really think this is a Slovakian team that benefited heavily from a qualifying group that was very forgiving, if I'm honest.
Yes, I agree with that.
I'm not impressed by the Slovakian team whatsoever. I'm being completely honest here. I don't think they're going to get obliterated. Apart from the Belgian game, which I think they'll get obliterated. I think they're going to be very tight and only 1-goal losses to Ukraine and Romania. But I'm really not impressed by the Slovakian team whatsoever. And yeah, so I hope there's no Slovakian in the comments, but I really don't. I'm not impressed by this team. But yeah, and so in the end, that's what I'm going for. Belgium, I understand the worry about Belgium, but I think Domenico Tedesco is a very solid coach. I think he's been playing reasonably good football with them. So I think they're going to get the job just about done in a unconvincing fashion, I think, against Romania and Ukraine particularly, but I think they'll still come top of the group. So that's my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, yeah, I'm going very bold with Belgium coming third. I know it. I just don't. Something about this Ukraine team, and I mean, we'll talk about it later. But one of the players there, I think, is going to be one of the surprises this tournament. So yeah, we disagree with that one
for once. So now
for once we disagree.
But now onto Group F, and this one's a fascinating group, which you also think you think is the weakest one, which I think is fascinating.
I don't particularly think it's the weakest one. I just think it's a lot weaker than perceived.
Okay, that makes sense. That's fine. I think that's valid. All right. So I would like to start with this one. I'm gonna go Portugal first on 7 points.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go second, and the point tie is gonna be very weird, but I genuinely believe this. Turkey on second with 3 points, getting 3 draws and no wins in this group. I genuinely.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
And I'll explain more why in a second.
Are you then going to say they're going to win the Euros because Portugal did it in 2016?
No. We're going to get to Turkey in a second. My thoughts on Turkey. I'm going to go third. I've been wrapping my brain around this, but I'm going to go third in the end with I'm on the verge. I'm going to go third Czechia just because of goal difference on 2 points. I'm going to go fourth Georgia, 2 points with a worse goal difference. That's my view.
Okay. I think that's a fair way to go. I think I agree with your order there because Portugal, based compared to the other teams, has a much stronger squad.
Yeah.
I think the one weakness with Portugal is how they're going to try to employ Ronaldo.
Yeah.
If they figure out how to play him, and I think the way they need to do it is to have him be the main focal point.
Yeah.
And the support for him. They can't try to integrate him into a style of play. They need to integrate around him. I know it might sound like cozying up to Ronaldo because he's Ronaldo, but he has had a good goal tally in the Saudi league, and he is a mentality monster.
Definitely.
I don't see why they can't do that for one more tournament.
No, I agree. And I think either way, the worst case, he can be very effective, massive super sub in the last 30 minutes. So I completely agree. I think they're gonna not do the best in the knock. We'll see. Well, we're not gonna do knockout predictions, but I'm not sure how well they'll do in the knockout rounds because I do question Roberto Martinez, but I do think they have a very good squad. So, but yeah, a second Turkey looks like we're in agreement. I think Turkey's gonna be on 3 points with all the ties because I've seen Turkey in qualification and in friendlies. And what they consistently do is they do very well against the tough teams. They literally tied 0-0 with Italy yesterday. It was a very good game. They played very well. And they did the same thing in qualifying. They can do very well against the tough teams. But they do stupid ties against the teams that they should be beating. And I think that first game against Georgia, they're going to do a stupid tie and tie that game. They're going to do a stupid tie against Czechia, but they're going to get a good tie against Portugal, which will still get them second, I think, ultimately. I do like this Turkish team with a lot of its offensive players. Not defensively, but I think its offensive players are extremely exciting. As a Juventus fan also, I love Yildiz. I really love Yildiz. I think he's very exciting. Coming Kenan Yildiz. Of course, we have, many other Turkish players to highlight in this team as well. But those are the ones that I really think. I also think Bayındır, the goalkeeper, will be also interesting. I think it'll be exciting. But yeah, so I'm going with them second. Third, Czechia, but I don't think they're going to get through to the knockouts because 2 points won't be enough. Czechia is one that I think is... I struggle with Czechia because I thought they had a poor qualification. I know they changed the coach, and I know they've been looking a little bit better recently. I think their problem is just good offensive players, but not good defensive players. So again, I struggle to see it.
I agree.
that.
I particularly think their issue is they're not sure who is in that starting lineup yet, because I
Yeah.
find that especially in the midfield and up front, apart from maybe Thomas Suchek, and I would say Patrick Schick should be the sure starter, but
Yes.
sometimes he doesn't. And so I think they still haven't really decided who their star men are, apart from maybe Suchek and Kufau,
Right. Good point.
you know? So that's what I struggle with appreciating this team, because I appreciate a lot of the players on it.
Yeah.
But I do think they are still lost in the setup of it.
For sure. So, and I think, look, to be fair, last time I underestimated Czechia and they came all the way to the quarterfinals. They had a really good.
Yeah, no. I still think on their day they're a strong team.
Yeah.
But I think with this case of the group and the fact that Turkey has a more youthful sorry, that was going to be saying the same word basically twice, one after another, but a rejuvenation of their team. And I really, really like Arturoglu.
Yeah,
I think he people his importance in that Galatasaray side. They see all the the players coming in from abroad compared to him in that squad, and highlight the international players. But he is very important in terms of the energy of that Galatasaray team, and I think he brings that into that Turkish team.
No,
so
definitely a great point. So no, I think
so. Yeah,
interesting Turkish team. They won't be given the dark horse label like last time, but
no, last time dark horse label. Yeah, I mean, it was bad. It was bad. No.
So, as a final note before we transition to the end, quick note on Georgia. Fantastic for them to qualify. I think they're a very interesting team. They're but the way I see them a little bit similar to Albania, where I think they're gonna have two very competitive games, and actually good games against Turkey and Czechia. But like Albania, they're gonna get slaughtered by Spain and Portugal, because those teams just are ruthless against those caliber tier teams. And as a final point for Georgia, of course, the main man is of course Kvaratskhelia, but I also do want to highlight Mamad Darchvili, the goalkeeper, very very good goalkeeper. And the last one I say is an outsider chance. I think he's one of the older players, but he looks interesting. Is I can't pronounce his name, but Zivzidzadze. I really struggle to pronounce his name. But anyway, but alas, after that butchering of the name. But yes, ultimately that means we've agreed on 5 out of the 6 groups on the order.
Yeah, fair enough.
Which is interesting.
Fair enough. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of us.
But one major disagreement on Group E, and I didn't think that out of all the groups, I was surprised that was on the disagreement. So interesting.
That's because of Belgium, base. Because of Belgium, I'm telling you.
Well, we'll agree to disagree, and we're gonna see who ends up right. Oh, actually, either of us be right, and Slovakia come top. But anyway,
if only.
But I think we should now transition to our predictions for the kind of individual standouts, team standouts of this tournament. And Nicholas, do you want to kick us off for this?
Well, should we start with the winner of the tournament?
Oh, definitely.
Because that's that, or do you want to end off on that?
Should we maybe?
How about I know who I'm gonna say for surprise of the tournament for a team.
Yeah, let's do surprise
for a team.
You go
for
first.
A team. And I am actually going to say Ukraine.
Really good shout. I really, really like them. I think a lot of people...
because firstly, they're doing their country absolutely proud.
Definitely.
By the fact of showing the mentality to stay fighting and also to stay in the Euro qualification despite what is happening.
For sure.
And to be participating. I'm sure it's going to be a very emotional moment for them, that first walkout. So that's already for me huge in terms of my appreciation for them. And secondly, I just think that they have this counter-attacking ability that not many other teams really have. And this is going to go into who I think my surprise player of the tournament is. And I'm going to say Mykhailo Mudryk.
I really like that shout actually, because he's actually been good with Ukraine. It's a really good shout.
I think the guy has had a rough start to the Premier League for sure.
Mhm.
I think he made the wrong choice between Chelsea and Arsenal.
I agree.
Sadly, um, because every time I've seen him come on, he's been effective. And I actually feel sad that Poch has left because it seemed like Poch was starting to give him more trust
Yeah, that's a good
towards
point.
the end of the season. And every time he came on, he was effective. And let's not even get started on his speed because that dude is another level.
Definitely,
But for me, he's going to be a big focal point in the Ukraine success.
for sure.
And I think at this tournament, people will finally see what the hype is about.
1,000,000%. No, I think.
I yeah, I don't think he was worth 100 million. Let's let's get that out first. For people thinking I'm going to try to justify the 100 million price tag, absolutely not. Absolutely not. He did not deserve the price tag at the time. But
Right.
I think he has the skill set to be able to become a very key player, not just for his national team, but also for his club team if he stays at Chelsea or if he decides to move away.
I agree. I think he's a very promising player. I'm really excited to see him. So I love your shout outs because I think if Ukraine go far, I think he'll be a big factor of it. I think on that team also Sigankov, I think is one actually going to have a very good tournament. Really love
Sigankov is very good.
My
Yes.
surprise team, similar to yours, is actually Austria. I'm going with Austria
Yeah.
as a surprise team. I think they're both very much that dark horse team. I really love this Austrian team. I think again, Ukraine. I think when you do a direct comparison of them, they're both very exciting teams. I think Ukraine has better players. Austria a little bit better tactically set up. So I think that's I'm edging a little bit more towards Austria, just a little bit. But yeah, Austria's my surprise team. I think they could go to the quarters. And my surprise player of the tournament is going to be Baumgartner because I think
Interesting shout.
I think he's really going to. I'm not going to use the word carry, but he's really going to lift that our Austrian team even more and show up. I think he's going to really have a great tournament. I really do. I think he's a very, very exciting player. And I think showing himself.
Very, very interesting choice, actually. Yeah. I was not expecting that. I gotta say. I gotta say.
But he's such a focal point under this track.
I was really not expecting it.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I mean, I personally, if I would have chosen, Austria was another one I was thinking about.
Right.
I would have personally chosen Michael Gregorich or Zavashlaga. I think Zavashlaga is one of those players who you can't find that anymore. He's a pure kind of defensive-minded midfielder, which you don't find that often anymore. And I think a lot of people underestimate him for his impact on the game.
For sure. The only problem, though, I actually might have picked Schlager, but he's injured. He's not going to be playing at the Euros.
Oh, is he not?
No, I found this out.
When did that happen?
I think he got an injury. I think it was like a couple weeks ago, like a long term. Yeah,
oh, God. No. Well, then let me talk about Gregorich then, because I did not know Schlager was injured. Forgive me, everybody. But Gregorich, again, another player who was at Hamburg, so my club, and I actually thought we never should have let him go. Never should have let him go, because after he left, he just got better and better and better.
Definitely.
Literally. So, yeah. I think that Austria side is a very solid shout for dark horse or surprise of the tournament. I agree with you.
I think for our last team pick before we go into individual player picks, we should talk about who you think is going to be the most disappointing team of the tournament. We could say, or the biggest flop. Is yours going to be Belgium or is it going to be...
Well, here's the thing. I said Belgium was going to do badly, but I say it because I actually do think they're going to do badly. I don't think they're going to be a flop.
That's right.
Because I don't see them performing that well.
That's right.
For me, if I'm looking at the teams here, I'm going to say Netherlands.
I'm literally going to say the exact same. I think they're going to get knocked out the round of 16. I actually think we're good.
Yeah, I think they will struggle to get out of the group. Like we said they'd come third and they'll go maybe. Did they? Yeah, they still go through even with the points tally that we decided. So yeah, I just see them as a very neutral side in that way of they're not particularly strong. They have a lot of good players, but a
Yeah,
lot of people expect them to do very well, which I don't see particularly,
I agree.
you know?
Yeah,
But then again, I thought the same thing before the last World Cup, and they actually
Bro,
performed somewhat decently.
can I tell you the difference of Van Gaal versus Koeman? I think that's my that's.
Yeah,
I think Louis Van Gaal versus
I
Koeman is the big.
I think it's a big difference for sure.
Oh, exactly. No, I have nothing
For
more to
all,
add about Netherlands because I agree with you completely.
yeah.
One thing I just wonder we also missed is like we never confirmed fully what third place teams are going through. We thought, did you
Ooh,
see
that's true. Well,
third
I
place?
think based off of what we said, it was Switzerland, Italy, um,
Croatia.
Netherlands.
Croatia. Because we think Croatia.
Sorry, Croatia. Yeah, we said Croatia. That's true. My bad. Netherlands, and I think the last one was Belgium.
Yeah, Belgium for you.
Was
That makes sense.
well,
Okay, so we both.
at least for me, or whoever is third in that group will
Yeah,
go through.
yeah. No, that makes sense. I
Yeah,
think we both. Yeah, I think we both. So that means we both think Denmark and Czech Republic will be the ones that don't have enough points to get through. Is that what it is? I think I should.
I think so. I agree with that. I think so. Yeah,
Cool.
I think so.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I think we have to transition now to finally talk about players. So, Niklas,
Mhm.
I want you to predict the player of the tournament. So it's over to
Player
you.
of the tournament. I think there's one man and one man only for that one, and I think that's Monsieur Kylian Mbappe.
I agree. It's got to be him.
I think the man is. I thought he might have a bit of an issue with the mental side because I didn't think the Real Madrid situation would be solved so quickly.
Right.
I thought that would be solved maybe after the tournament. But now that that's solved, he has the freedom. He's in a good headspace.
Definitely.
And the dude, when he's in a good headspace, is a bad person to have in front of you if you're a defender.
Agreed.
So for me, there's no hesitation. Kylian Mbappe is head and shoulders above everybody, the best player at the tournament.
1,000,000%. So I have nothing more to add. We know how classy he is. And then also give an indication because I think also without spoiling, I think France are going to go very far in this tournament. So that also helps because players of the tournaments have to go very far. So yes.
Yeah. But do you think he's going to be top scorer though as well?
That I don't think so actually. So that can get.
Who do you think is going to be top scorer?
I'm gonna shock you. Maybe shock you. I don't know. Maybe it's a shocking pick. I'm gonna go full crew.
If you. No way.
I really do think so. I actually really do.
Oh my god! If only it was possible. Listen, Gabe.
That was a great reaction.
Listen, Gabe. Listen, Gabe. Before you said it, I was thinking if he says full Krug, you're a true homie. you're a real friend.
No, but I think Germany will get very far in this tournament. I think he's going to be the big reason he's not going in this top scorer.
I'm flattered. I'm flattered. Because
I'm serious.
I don't.
I don't laughing about that.
No way.
Who's your top scorer?
Okay, no, it's a respectable choice. It just for me, for some reason, it came out of nowhere. And the fact that I was thinking it makes it even funnier. I'm gonna say Mr. Harry Kane.
Completely fair. Yes, 100%.
I think he'll score a lot in the group stage because the teams in his group are quite weak defensively, the most of them. So I think he'll have a field day against Slovenia, and I think Jan Oblak's still in goal, but like I think that defense isn't very strong,
right?
Apart from him, but I think he'll have a pretty good chance to score a lot of goals in the group stage.
I mean,
So
that's
I'm going Harry Kane. I'm going Harry Kane.
really fair. All right. Well, I think then that we've done Golden Boots. We have to, I think, just do Young Player of the Tournament. I think that's another one.
Young player to tournament. How what's the youth cap? Is it 23?
In this
Any
room,
player under 23?
is it 23 or 21? I always forget in these tournaments.
I think it's 23.
So if it's 23, we'll say 23 then.
Yeah. I think it is 23 if I'm not mistaken.
Check.
What is your shout? What is your shout?
Mine is Verts. I think Florian Verts.
I do think Florian Wirtz is going to be there.
I was debating with Musiala, but I think in this system, I think Verts will actually have a better tournament a little bit.
Yeah, I think in this system, he fits it a bit better. I'm actually going to say Wirtz. I would have said Mudryk again, backing off what I just said before. But I just don't think, as much as I said Ukraine will be the surprise, I don't think they're going to go far enough for him to be the front runner.
Agreed.
So I'm actually going to go with Wirtz as well here, probably, if I'm thinking about it. How old is Guardiola?
He's 22, I think. I think he's 22. He's very young, to be fair.
Because if Guardiola is under 23, I would consider him as well. But he is a defender, so he has disadvantage.
Yeah, it looks like it's under 23 the limit. Yeah, not under 21.
Yeah,
so you could go
so
Guardiola.
I think Guardiola is a shout as well, because I think he's so solid. He's so solid. He's such a solid defender.
You think Croatia's going to get pretty far then, if you think about Guardiola?
I think they'll go further than people expect. They won't do so well in the group stage, but they might pull something together.
Yeah, that makes sense. They do well better knockouts. So.
Yeah, they usually do, especially if penalties come up. I think they have a pretty strong mentality. Definitely. So, they've always done well in penalties and in extra time. So, yeah, I don't see why Guardiola could not be one of those players who's considered for young player of the season. But I think the front runner here, well, obviously Jude Bellingham's a front runner. But for me, it might be Florian Wirtz. I think so.
For sure. All right, so I guess that means, do we have any other individual awards to give out? Because if not, I think we can transition to who do we think will be the winner.
Say
that again?
Well, we could do Golden Glove.
We could end on that. True. I think you're not going to like my pick. I'm going to go with Pickford. And the reason why is I just think
get out of here.
He's going to keep. Can I tell you why? I think the group he's going to get a lot of clean sheets. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's not because of ability per se, just because of the group is favorable to England to keep clean sheets.
I'm actually gonna surprise. I know I said stuff about the defense. Magnon.
Oh, fair enough. That's a good point. That's a good point. Fair enough.
I'm gonna say Magnon.
Good point.
Yeah.
Some good picks there. So finally, I think we have to end off on before watch both of our picks somehow not even make the knockouts. I doubt this, but to end off this amazing podcast, we must conclude who will win the Euros. Niklas, take it away.
Germany.
I love it. I'm not agreeing with it, but I love it. I love it.
But you said Fulcrum top scorer.
Because I think Germany will make the final, but I think they will lose in the final to France. That's my prediction. That's the only reason why.
No, it's a fair shout. It's a fair shout.
I do think I think you guys will actually make the final. I think you guys are gonna have a really good turn. I'm gonna go.
I actually think England might beat France because I know in the brackets normally they end up together in the semifinal if they go all the way, and I think England might just edge out. But then if it's Germany, England in the final, I think Germany's winning it.
That's a good point. I actually would back that. I think if it's Germany versus England final, Germany wins it. If it's Germany France, I think it's France. I think it's
I'm still not. 2 months ago I was not confident in this Germany team, but now I've hopped back on the train and I am fully supporting this team because I actually believe they have what it takes. And I like the manager a lot. I hope he figures out a good setup because there are certain players that I don't think should be playing as much as others should. I'm thinking particularly of Kai Havertz should, as much as he's had a good season with Arsenal, I don't think he should be put on the front end all the time. I think Verts, Musiala need to play every single minute. I think Leroy Sané needs to be limited in minutes as well. Um, so, I hope and pray that somehow we might even making it to the semis. I would be proud.
I really think, look, I tell you, I think you're going to go all the way to the final. I really think Fulkrug is going to spearhead that attack. That's why I'm putting him as the top goal scorer because I think he's going to get that many goals. So
Fair enough. It would be a dream come true, wouldn't it?
Indeed, especially because you guys are hosting it. Well, I think we can conclude that, assuming our predictions goes right, one of our countries is going to have a very good tournament. Niklas' Germany. My Switzerland will probably crash out in the round of 16. But let us know what your guys' predictions are. Let's see if you have the shit's optimism that we do.
And while we're at it, we'll let you have a go at us in the comments, especially about the Belgium one, because I know the Belgium one is a tough one. But yeah, in conclusion, these are predictions for the Euros. This is what we think. Gabriel thinks France is going to win. I think Germany is going to win. Let us know in the comments. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
We'll see you guys soon.
See you guys soon.